Time is brought to you by Rwand Air. For booking and reservation, please call 0127991018 or visit our website www.rwandair.com.
News from Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, moving Lagos forward.
Good evening. Here's the news at 9. First, the highlights. Governor Sanwo-Olu presents 2024 budget estimates of 2.2 trillion naira to Lagos State House of Assembly. Federal government removes tertiary institutions from integrated personnel and payroll information system. On the foreign scene, vote counting commences amid presidential elections in Egypt. And in sport, Senate tax federal government on deeper investment in sports development. Now the details. I am John Omoaka. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has presented a 2024 budget estimates of 2.2 trillion naira to the House of Assembly tagged Budget of Renewal. These, according to Governor Sanwo-Olu, is to consolidate on the previous achievements of his administration in the last 4 years in line with the themes plus developmental agenda, which includes social inclusion, gender equality, and youth development, and to alleviate the sufferings of Lagosians amid effects of current economic hardship facing the country. The capital expenditure stands at 1.224 trillion naira, representing 55%, and recurrent expenditure of 1.023 trillion naira, representing 45% of the budget estimates. The governor reeled out his administration's achievements in the first year of his second tenure in the areas of transportation, traffic management, health, environment, especially conversations around climate change issues, violations of the state urban master plan, education, technology, agriculture, housing, entertainment, social interventions, infrastructure development, among others. Governor Sanwo-Olu commended the collaborative efforts of members of the Lagos House of Assembly in ensuring that good governance gets all the nooks and crannies of the state and sued for more to take Lagos to greater heights as the administration targets key investments that would attract investors and explore public-private partnerships.
Please continue to support us by obeying the laws of the land, by paying your tax promptly and in full, by exercising vigilance and providing useful information that will help tackle the activities of criminals. If you see something, please say something. Once again, Lagosians, I ask you to join hands with this administration. You are all overwhelmingly elected us once again. Mr. Deputy and I am indeed grateful and will lead on this journey to a greater Lagos.
Our Governor's Office correspondent, Adiola Kindele, reports that the presentation of the 2024 budget proposal was witnessed by different stakeholders, including top government functionaries, market men and women, traditional religious leaders, security agencies, members of diplomatic corps, among others. Meanwhile, Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has urged the government to begin to look at better ways to alleviate poverty beyond giving out packaged foodstuff. Speaking at the Assembly chamber after the presentation of the budget by Governor Sanwo-Olu, Obasa said the budget, which faces the realities of daunting economic challenges, must be tailored towards improving the lives of residents. While calling for the employment of more people for effective implementation of government policies, Obasa further urged effective youth engagement through sports and related activities.
It is highly important for us to apply the right indices towards ensuring a performing and functioning budget that will lift our people out of poverty and reposition the state toward infrastructural growth and renewal. Lagos State House of Assembly is committed to this and will use all constitutional instruments.
Obasa stressed the need to improve the enforcement and implementation of state police policies, which is highly necessary. Obasa stressed the need to improve the enforcement and implementation of state police, which is highly necessary. Our correspondent Abiola Faglagun quotes the speaker saying the House will monitor the performance, execution, and compliance of the provision of the budget, pledging the lawmakers' support to Mr. Governor in achieving a greater Lagos. The Lagos State House of Assembly has sworn in Rauf Agay Sulaiman of the All Progressives Congress (APC) as the representative for Omoaka Constituency 2. This comes after his election victory was upheld by the appeal court as against Labour Party's Olukayode Doherty. The swearing-in ceremony took place during the plenary just before Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu presented the year 2024 budget estimate. Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, expressed satisfaction with Agay Sulaiman's return and referred to this development as a significant gain for the APC. Clerk of the House, Olalekan Onofeko, earlier at plenary, read a letter from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to inform the House of the development. The letter recalled that after the Lagos Assembly election held on March 18, 2023, the Commission initially issued the certificate of return in favor of Doherty before the Court of Appeal overturned the decision and ruled that certificate of return be given to Agay Sulaiman. The Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPAS, organized one-day stakeholders meeting with the leadership and members of religious organizations on issues bordering on air and noise pollution in the state. General Manager of LASEPA, Babatunde Ajayi, said the stakeholders meeting with the theme, Achieving a Noiseless Lagos for a Healthy Citizenry. The journey so far was necessary as half of the over 2,500 complaints on noise pollution this year were about religious organizations.
The take-home really is that we're trying to make sure that the Lagos environment and the living condition is comparable for everybody. So religious activity shouldn't impede the quality of life of your neighbors. The noise you make from your religious activities should be limited to your own facility. Be in good relationship with your neighbors and the hosts that you have in your building. Soundproof your doors, your windows. Make sure that the noise from your facility does not wake the other person from sleep.
Director, Noise and Emission Control Department of LASEPA, Olabisi Shonibare, highlighted ways to mitigate noise pollution to include use of soundproof windows, purpose-built, among others. Earlier, religious leaders at the stakeholders meeting commended the Lagos state government for its gesture to sensitize citizens, which is a step in the right direction in finding ways to reduce noise pollution, pledging their commitment to support its efforts.
The issue of noise pollution is also part of what I may want to consider as part of the challenges of the climate change that we are having today.
If you engage the people, you want them to know their parts, what you are expecting from them as a leader. And with that, they will strive to come up.
Those were stakeholders at a meeting with the leadership and members of religious organizations on issues bordering on air and noise pollution in Lagos. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, has received National Emergency and Disaster Management stakeholders on a 2-day field visit to brainstorm on how to engage more in disaster risk reduction through preventive approaches. This visit was facilitated by the World Bank through the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to undertake a lesson learned exercise with focus on the 2022 flood across the country. The team comprises different rescue responders and 4 local government emergency management committees. The NEMA NEMA Southwest Coordinator Ibrahim Fariloye said the agency of the field visit was to look at the country's emergency preparedness towards preventing disasters which occurred last year, with a call on Nigerians to obey early warning instructions by relevant agencies.
When you look at what happened in 2022, about 16,000 families were affected in Lagos. And when you talk of DRR, disaster risk reduction, is capital intensive, very, very capital intensive. And the political leader needs to buy into it, because it's not a thing you will see early.
On his part, the World Bank Senior Disaster Risk Management Specialist, Nkem Joseph Palmer, emphasized that the field exercise would allow for identification and bridging of gaps leading to flooding and encourage state government to embrace technology to share information for prompt actions.
And the aim is not just to come and discuss issues. In the process of discussing and learning from what has happened from each other, everybody will be strengthened in terms of capacity. So it's also a capacity building exercise for all of us. And for me, it's a learning curve. As I'm listening to people talk at the community level, what the issues are.
Permanent Secretary of LASEMA, Olufemi Okelsointolu, noted that the casualty during emergencies has reduced drastically in Lagos due to the huge investment of the Governor Sanwo-Olu's administration.
As a government, we have done our part. As a responders, we have beat our chest out to work morning, afternoon, and night. As a good people of Lagos State, do your own bit. Ensure that all the safety precautions are abided to.
The flooding of 2022 led to the deaths of 665 persons, injured 3,181 persons, with over 4 million citizens affected nationwide. Now to the rest of the stories. The federal government has removed tertiary institutions from the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, IPPIS, with immediate effect. This is as institutions are now to recruit their personnel without recourse to the office of the head of service of the Federation in order to reduce bureaucracy involved in such exercises. Minister of Education Tahil Mama was stated this at the end of the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting in Abuja, said this is part of government efforts to reduce the challenges facing tertiary institutions. He added that they will continue to be supervised by the Ministry of Education and the National Universities Commission, as is the practice. The Ministry of Aviation says it is working on plans to ensure that the commercial airlines operating in the country pay compensation to passengers for delayed or cancelled flights as from January 2024. Minister of Aviation Festus Keyamo said this when he appeared before the Joint Committee of the National Assembly on Aviation for 2024 Budget Defense. Keyamo also said the ministry plans to publish the list of airlines that delayed or cancelled flights in the media every week as part of the efforts. And now to foreign news. Egypt's electoral body has started counting votes following the conclusion of polling in the presidential elections. Voting began on Sunday and ended at 9 p.m. local time on Tuesday, with more than 67 million people registered to vote. Incumbent President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is seeking a third consecutive term, with any provisional results already placing him in the lead. The official results are set to be announced on December 18. And now sport. The Senate has urged the federal government to deepen investment in sports development in the country. Chairman, Senate Committee on Sports Development, Somalia Kawu, made a call following the harvest of awards by Nigerian sportsmen and women from the recent CAF Awards. Kawu will describe the awards as bold and big statements made on behalf of Nigeria by the winners, congratulated President Bola Tinubu, Minister of Sports John Eno, and Nigeria Football Federation on the feast. And that's our news. But just before we go, stay alive, making use of pedestrian bridges where available. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms. X, formerly Twitter, Lagos Traffic 961. Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Watch us live on Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. On YouTube, subscribe and watch all our previous programs and news on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration empowered over 1,000 residents at the third phase of the Mega Empowerment Program? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has presented a 2024 budget estimate of 2.2 trillion naira to the House of Assembly tagged Budget of Renewal. The federal government has removed tertiary institutions from the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, IPIS, with immediate effect. We also told you that Egypt's electoral body has started counting votes following the conclusion of polling in the presidential elections. And in sports, the Senate has urged the federal government to deepen investment in sports development in the country. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to newsroom@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Dewale Oluwoporoku. I am John Omoaka. Thank you very much for listening.